Linens and Hutch, a family-owned company who specialize in soft and cozy, high-quality, on-trend colors and patterns that never go out of style. Everything for your bed products at the least possible price. Linens and Hutch is able to do this by designing and working directly with expert manufacturers to cut out the middleman and pass the savings on to their customers, providing affordable luxury. Since I received my sheets and down alternative comforter, that is like so soft, which, matches up to actual down comforters at higher prices. They are like 90 GSM microfiber, hypoallergenic, which is great for those of you with sensitive skin and can't take full down, down comforter. It's snuggling up into them. It's toasty, they're soft. You just melt away in there, and they are so warm. I look forward to this after a long day at work and just coming home and getting into my sheets and comforters from Linens and Hutch. I can't say the most about them. There's so much that you just have to try them for yourself. Linens and Hutch provide fast and free shipping. They are so confident that you love their bedding products that they are offering a 100-day trial period. Yummy. Money back guarantee. Linens and Hutch knows you'll be so satisfied that they are offering listeners 70% off site-wise. And all you gotta do is go to their website, located at www.linensandhutch.com, and use the code GSMC6 for the softest sheets ever.
Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, a show that examines all aspects of sexuality, from physical to emotional to spiritual. Join our hosts as they discuss age-old questions, common misconceptions, and the latest topics surrounding sex. They'll tackle topics about sexuality from the complicated to the hilarious and everything in between. GSMC Sex Podcast is your show for all of your questions about sex, even some you might not have thought of yet.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Hello, all of you out there, my little sex fiends. We talk about a lot of topics here, and different things we talk about. Why not talk about nocturnal emission? And to put that into terms of understanding, sex dreams. We always get up and we wonder if we have a sex dream or a regular dream, a really far out dream, what it means. We're always trying to figure that out, especially in a sex dream, because 10 to 1, you had an orgasm during it. Yes, it does happen. Just to put it out there, and the definition of a nocturnal emission, which is informally known as a wet dream, or a sex dream, nightfall, or sleep orgasm, which is a spontaneous orgasm during sleep that includes ejaculation for a male, or a vaginal wetness, or an orgasm for a female. And we all know, like when we were younger, that was a joke. You had a wet dream. So obviously it's not that big now, but it is what everybody that refers to as them as the wet dream. Now, there are so many things out there that you could dream about. And it's funny because sex dreams have been found to have a good gauge of your overall libido level. And generally, all of this goes back to Freud. Sigmund Freud, we all know he's a genius. He's already, he was also obsessed in his semi-repressive, Victorian times, that sex dreams were always about something more. So, obviously, we wonder why. And there are some ways that he, if you think he's right or whatever, there are some guides. There is a guide to possible ways to decoding the aspects of a sexual dream. There's random or a series of dreams that are about sex with strangers. You have a sexual dream about a guy or a gal you see out in the store. And the next night, it's a total stranger. You don't even know who it is. You just happen to see this person. And then for some reason, you have a dream about them, a sex dream at that. And the next night, it might be about something or someone totally different. And it could be something that is close to you or a person that you see every day. You never know. Such dreams about these strangers or acquaintances. And it's really funny because men are more apt to dream about strangers than women do. But knowing that, they are usually a good indicator of the state of your libido, which is great because your brain is trying to let you know that you have physical sexual needs that need to get met, and they are not getting met as you are. This is the way your brain figures all this out. What sexual experiences are you dreaming about? Is a question, obviously. How is it different from a dream, a regular dream? It is something outside of what you would regularly think about when it comes to a partner or a prospective partner. And it's probably a way of you trying to, if your needs are not getting met, obviously, you're dreaming of ways of trying to get those needs met. It might be bringing you into a new level of excitement that you want to explore. And, it's going in your head and it's coming out in a dream. This is something you need to look at. Because if you're doing this every night and you're getting your kicks off, and this is probably the only way that you're getting a full orgasm, because your needs are not being met sexually, then it's something that you need to really look into, because it's very important. Our bodies crave this stuff. It's going to come out some way or another. You have dreams of fuller relationships, and it sticks with you. It's the whole entire thing together. It's not just the sex. It's the before and the after. Like, that romantic dinner, or on the couch foreplay, post-cuddling, or open conversation and intimacy. These are clues to you. And this is how you want to be treated. And this is what you're looking for. And how do we go about this? You need to be more assertive, more adventurous. Think about it. Think about what's going on in your current relationship, or what's going on in your current sex life, or lack thereof. And you got to start thinking about how this is actually affecting you. Apparently your libido's working. And your libido is working overtime in your dreams. And that's the only place it is overworking. So obviously you're missing something, and we need to work on that. So start addressing these things, especially if you're having these sex dreams, or wet dreams, as most would call them, almost every night. Basically more than one is a sign that something needs to be addressed in your sex life. You have dreams of old partners. And we're going to go further in with some kind of dreams that are out there that you can have, and why you may be having these. We'll go a little closer into delve a little deeper. Maybe you left somebody from a long time ago, and dating somebody else in a new relationship, or you've been with this person. This person's great. You love them. You love being with them. You find yourself dreaming about someone a long time ago, or a couple of exes ago, shall I say. There's a closeness that you've had with that person, but obviously it's faded away. You with somebody new, but you're wondering why the dream keeps coming and circling around back to that same person instead of the partner that you're with now that you're enjoying. Generally this is really brought down and simplified, whereas your brain hasn't exactly decided to make a switch yet, because there were a lot of good things that went on in that past relationship, but there were a lot of good things that are going on in this new relationship, in your brain saying, whoa, wait a second, though we had good here, but we have good here. And this is how your brain's trying to figure out and switch gears. Sex with the new person probably is triggering some old neurological patterns, or old things that are going on, something that they did, triggered something they used to do and enjoy with your ex. And it's bringing it back and bringing it to the forefront. And this is how your body is saying, hello, you enjoyed that with that person, but you enjoyed it with this person, and it's coming out in a dream, and you're thinking about it with them because they're probably the first person you did it with. So your brain will get to the point where it's gonna have to readjust, or if you and your ex are rekindling, hey, why are you with this new person? Because if you're having sexual dreams and orgasms in your sleep regarding that ex or an old partner all in general, you need to reevaluate what the heck is going on. Now, dreams of a former partner that just won't go away? Well, if you're having that sexual dream that always involves your ex, obviously there's something in the background either you're not identifying that is going on, or you need to play it out, or whatever it is. Try to get back with one another. If that's what the two of you feel, go for it. If you are both involved in a new relationship or a new relationship at the same time, that might be the dream may not be all focused on that sex, but the fact that kind of sort of like a grieving process and a loss process of that sex. So, and it's going to unravel and go in different directions, and your brain's going to process all of this. Hopefully, I mean, if the two of you want to, get back together and that's what you're for, like I said, give it a try. But there might be something else that might have stirred this up. Like if you were together for a very long time and some tragic thing happened in that person, in your ex's life, that might just bring it all to the forefront. Then all of a sudden your brain kind of goes backwards and starts thinking of it, and what it's doing is it's playing it out in the sex dream, and you having sex with this person, and you're getting off on it. In your dreams, you're having sexual orgasms in your dream because of this. There's a lot of things that play in this situation, like guilt and regret, or guilt or regret, either or. You might even want to try doing some things to close off of that gap. Instead of if you know where your ex is at, and you don't want to be content, write them a nice letter, or try and get in some way, whereas if you write that letter, don't send it. But you got it out of your head, because a good thing to practice is if something is in your head that you can't get out, write it down, because it takes it from your head, puts it down through your arm and through your fingers and onto the paper. Put it somewhere. Unless you enjoy it and having a sex dream constantly over that is what you want, go for it. But I think after a little while, if you're dating someone new, they're going to figure it out. They're going to ask you what you're dreaming about, because one of these days, that orgasm is really going to get intense, and it will be questioned. There's a lot of things that go on with sex dreams, and wanting to know all about them is pretty cool. And we will talk about how to have that erotic lucid dream, that sex dream, that nocturnal emission. But for right now, we are going to take our first break in the show. So get that drink, get that snack, come back, get relaxed, and I will meet you back here for more sex talk with Andra.
Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Welcome back. We are continuing on with our nocturnal emissions, or as everybody knows as, sex dreams, wet dreams, nightfall. Never heard of that one before, but hey, let's go with it. Or whatever you want to call it, got your orgasm on in the night when you were sleeping. And it must have been one heck of a dream. Now, when talking about sex dreams, obviously, Sigmund Freud comes up. Very, very highly educated man. Very, very brilliant man. And one of my favorites in the psychological world of the mind. But we still are having sex dreams. And we have different kinds of sex dreams. And what do they really mean? Obviously, we ask ourselves that. And we're still asking ourselves that. Why did I have an orgasm in my dream because of that? Hey, it is our brain's way of saying our libido level is good, but we're not meeting our needs sexually and need to come and do, to meet those needs and find a way to do so. They represent wishes that the dreamer, you, subconsciously want filled or to be filled at one point in time. Obviously, if you're in the kitchen with an apron on and naked and then someone gets burned, I don't think that you want that. Because, you started this little sexual rendezvous on the top of the stove. That's the burn pot. Sex-wise, yes. Burn pot, no. So you really need to kind of sort of look through this. I mean, sex dreams have been classified as something so different than your normal REM cycle dreams. Obviously, they are naughty, but nice. They can be really, really erotic, sexy, kinky. Remember, this is your dream. You can do whatever you want in it sexually. You're still ending up the same way. You're waking up wet. Whatever you want to look at it. Guys wake up with boners first thing in the morning. Their penises are erect. You always ask, why is that? Because when they go to sleep, hello, and they wake up the next morning, it may not even been a sex dream. This is something that naturally happens to them. And they, you may wake up as a woman and you're wet. What do they tell you to do? Roll over onto your partner if you have one. Who's to say? Put your dildo next to you in the bed. If you feel you're going to have a wake up wet or have that wet dream in the middle of the night, who is to say? I mean, it's all on how you figure out what they really mean or what is going on. Let's start with some sex dreams and what they really mean. Having a dream of having sex with a super rich person. This could just mean, and it has been defined, as just be that you desire wealth. Because the sex dream just is not about what you need. It's also bringing out what you desire. So you, in your dream, are acting this out. you might be looking for that wealth. So you're having sex with a rich guy, but you're getting a wet dream, getting all horned out. Is that your way of figuring that you'll become rich? Who knows? I mean, it could just mean that you just want to be rich. Then again, how do you go about it? Remember that. Another dream. Obviously, most people have had this one. You had a sex dream of someone who works for you. Now, these are common, and a lot of people know that. Okay, it could be a boss. It could be somebody who is working under you, like that you are a boss to. It really, those are usually the ones that you have. But in this case, it's someone who actually works for you. You own your business. They work for you. You're actually how it's been explained, this sex dream, because you're getting all hot and bothered in your dream about this person. And it could be that you are thinking about what their job is, what they do for you, and what their job represents. So, you like being the boss and telling people what to do. A little dominatrix in there, a domineering, little submissiveness you want from somebody, and you're bringing this out sexually. It could be your little way of wanting that little bit of control, and you're getting your socks off in your dream to it. It might not be something that you think about when you wake up and you wanted to, but you're actually doing it in your dream. Maybe if you do go and experience that, a little bit of BDSM, you might just stop that dream from occurring. But if you like to have that dream, please do continue with that sex dream about that person who works for you. Hey, it's working for you. It's getting your socks off. Another dream. Obviously a sex dream about an acquaintance. This one is where it's like, okay, you met somebody some odd months ago. It could have been a month ago, it could have been 6 months ago, or a year ago. Then all of a sudden, they show up in your dream, and it's steamy as ever, and you are having massive sex, and they're getting you to your highest peak in your orgasm. But it is in your dreams. It's just, it could be that, you don't have to be attracted to the person. You probably weren't attracted to that person. But something about them stands out. And it's the one thing that you remember is what you're acting out with that person in your sex dream. Another one. You're a totally platonic friend. You're having sex dreams about them. This isn't uncommon, because if with a friend, you're always hanging out around them or whatever, something sexual is bound to come into your brain, whether it be while you're sleeping or while you're awake. Either way, we are working on the sleep portion to this. And you need to, what they tell you to do with this one is to pick the first 3 things that come to mind when you think of that person. Then apply them to yourself. So, if you're having that sex dream about your best friend, even though you're not sexually attracted to them, there might be some things that the two of you can, that things about you that associate to them. And this is what you're doing when you're dreaming of them, but it's coming out sexually. And obviously, when you get with this person the next day, you're going to have different views on this person. And obviously, now it's in your head. You've had that sex dream. You've had an orgasm over this person. And now you see them. What do you think is going to happen the next night you go to sleep? You're going to have another wet dream, sex dream over them. And you're going to get your socks off. So, hey, it happens. Another dream that, we always question is sex with your boss. It is almost the same as with that platonic friend, that sex dream with your platonic friend. Pick those 3 traits that you see in your boss and that you compare to you. And try and figure out, because you're going to go to work with this person the next day, and what's going to be going through your mind is you're going to be wondering either why you got an orgasm over this person in your dreams, or what is it that you may just be attracted to in this person. Who is to say? Because they explain that, sex dreams that do involve a boss somewhat have that little bit of a difference there from that platonic friend, because the fact is this is someone who is in a position of power. So you may just like that power that's over you, and it might come out in a submissive perspective from you as the submissive in that. So you gotta kind of lurk it. If you like him telling you what you like to do, that might be that thing. Moving right along with our sex dreams, and the politically correct name, nocturnal emission. Okay, so wet dream, whatever. Literally anyone who isn't your partner, you're having a sex dream about. Well, there is a fine line between the fantasy and the nightmare there. Having that occasional sex dream about other people obviously is so totally normal and shows you're human, but you need to also examine your actual sex life. If you're having sex dreams and having sexual orgasms in your dream over everybody but the person who's either with you, laying right beside you, or you're dating, you might want to take a look at that and look at the frequency, how it's being done. Do you actually enjoy the sex with this person? And just actually, you need to get enough variety from this person. You really need to go down the line, write a list, and put the pros and cons in there. Because if this is happening more than once, you're having sexual dreams and it isn't about that person on the side of you, there is something totally missing. Another sex dream that needs to be discussed is having sex with someone you don't think is hot, that you're not even attractive to. Like you really think that they are. Hey, it is something. What really stands out about that person? It may not be their looks, because you may not be attracted to that, and seeing as for the most part with women, it is the idea of imagining that you could possibly have sex with that person. That is somewhat of that extreme attraction and what will put you in with that person. Or something about their, personality. What is it about them? That first thing that comes to your mind, which is also setting off your subconscious desires. And it's a way of trying to incorporate that person into whatever's going on with you. And on that note, we are going to take a break here. So replenish that drink, replenish that snack, come back, get relaxed. And we will continue on with our sex dreams. And what do they mean? So I will meet you back here for more sex talk with Andra.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, welcome back from our short break. Hope you enjoyed that. And we are continuing on with nocturnal emissions, or as we like to refer to them as sex dreams, wet dreams, nightfalls, anything that we wake up and we've had an orgasm, just like, in our dreams, wondering what? And the next on our list, and continuing on, is having sex with a celebrity. Now, we all have a celebrity that we find is going to be our imaginary husband or wife, or even a boyfriend, or just a girlfriend, or a quick romp, just having plain sex with them in reality. And they are out there for that reason, for the most part. That's why you're a fan of theirs. Now, these are really, really typical of everybody. And they have one of two meanings. One of two meanings. There are two things that they could mean. Either you just think the celebrity is super hot and having sex with them is a serious fantasy of yours. Or if they seem like a random celebrity, you're not really into them. But there is one of those things where you need to apply what are 3 traits about that celebrity that you are even equal in, or that just stand out to you? Because that's probably why you're having that sex dream and having serious little, orgasms, or big ones for that. Because obviously, this person, the celebrity, I'm not saying that you couldn't meet them, but it's probably really not going to happen. Not going to happen. I'm just saying. But it might be, if it's a singer, it's something in the music. If it's just watching them on, in the movie or on TV or whatever it is they are acting in, and it just turns you on. I mean, you sit there and you say, oh my goodness, they are like amazing looking, or whatever the case may be, and you say what you say. But, obviously you're not going to think much of it, because the odds of meeting that person is kind of slim. So you go to sleep non-consciously, even knowing that, oh my goodness, I'm going to have having a sex dream with this person. Why? Our little subconscious mind works against us sometimes. Another sex dream that, you really need to think about is having sex with a politician. Granted, our pickings are slim these days, but nonetheless, this one actually is somewhat on the same lines of the celebrity. They are famous, You gotta go, and it's funny because when some people will explain this and how they describe why you're having the sex dream with them, is because you're governing your own life and your affairs better. So having a sex dream with this person is going to make the way you run things in your life better. Can't agree with that too much, but hey, what can I say? Now, we've talked about having sex dreams about an ex, but having a sex dream about your first big ex, like the first person you ever dated and had sex with, yeah, we all talk about those. It's not any different than having a sex dream about sex with them. I mean, your first big love relationship, or your first ex that you had sex with, it's your first love, and it is something that you're probably gonna come back to in your head. It probably just came out in the wrong way. You're probably thinking about how it was the first time you had sex. And then in your dream, it kind of turned it. And turned it into something utterly out there, especially since what you know now about yourself. This represents, if it's been a long time since you've even seen this person, or even thought about this person, it really is more about, you could be meeting a new person, have a new partner, and those feelings are somewhat the same of what your first love was, that passion, that excitement, being desiring that person. Yeah, you've had other relationships, but it hasn't amounted to the same thing as that first ex. And this relationship that you're in does do that. So, it just kind of sort of brought everything up. And it could also, it just brought it up where you just started thinking about them, and you just blew up in your dream, and you just had that ultimate orgasm with them in your dream. And, you probably got up in the next morning and said, why did I ever dream about them? I haven't thought about them in a long time. It's just something that happens. Also, you might want to, and these are generally, when I say sex dreams and all of this, these are usually very vibrant dreams. One that we remember, one that seems real, and that we're like, whoa, what happened? Because it's got enough power to get you off in your dream. And for you to have an orgasm, for you to have, ejaculated, or whatever you want to call it, it had to be very, very vibrant. Now, right now, this might also mean that if you're having that sex dream about that person, is you're actually longing for those feelings again, and right now your current relationship status is a bit on the non-existent side. You may feel a little bit lonely, or whatever the case may be. Having that sex dream is probably just saying, this is what I'm looking for, and it just brings you all the way back to the first time you felt those feelings and how you wanted to have that again, because it's spicing you up. It's putting spice back in your life. It's putting you back into the spark and the passion that you so truly deserve and crave. So, moving right along. Having sex with a mysterious, faceless stranger. Ooh. Now, this is probably, I'm most positive most people have had that dream, but, you're getting up to this point in it, and all of a sudden they turn around. You don't know who it is. You can't identify them in your dream, but they're doing all of this for you. This is actually explained as the dream is really more about yourself, and that the mystery lover is a symbol or symbolizes some aspect of your trying to get to know, believe it or not, and utilize in your own life. So you're going up to this person, and then all of a sudden you're like, they never show their face. It's always covered. It's just, then they put their head up at the last minute, and there's nothing there. It usually means that you are looking for something that is more for you, or that is more centered on what needs to be in your life that you are missing. It's more a reflection of yourself. Now, having a dream, we are moving right along, having a dream with someone of that reason, the two women, generally they're like of different authenticities. But women have those dreams too. It's a little not as common, because most men do not like to do that with another man. Although I'm not to say that it has not been done, because it has. There are those friends out there who like to share women. But these, believe it or not, are still very common. Because you're wondering in your head, what would it be to go to bed with somebody who has the same things as yourself when you are not attracted to the opposite sex? And it's that thought that sits in there. It's just having a curiosity about what it would be like. Not that you're to go and do it, but the fact that It is a curiosity. And it's just, if it's like woman on woman or a man on a man, it might just be trying to see about you. It's like kind of sort of looking at yourself from the outside and how that would be. And that curiosity, yeah, it's going to get you off. It's okay. You might be a little embarrassed when you get up in the morning. I'm sure that if you're not comfortable talking about it, you won't. You probably think you're strange, but you're not. They're common. So remember that. This is something that everybody does. It might just show that you are proud of your gender. It might just show that your dominance. All depends on, sitting back and just looking at it, or just like knowing that it is a reflection and a curiosity of you. Now, having sexual dreams about a teacher. Come on, when you were kids, you saw that one teacher you had a crush on. So freaking common to have a sexual dream where there is an ultimate orgasm with a teacher of yours. It might have been a while ago a teacher that comes into your head, or it might be that one now. It could be a teacher, a professor. You might have had a crush on them. It's sex. It's not, you just got that little crush in there. It just so happens that that little crush is just triggering your mind of how it would be to have sex with that person. So what do? You dream the sex about it. And if they like to say that, if it's a particular type of teacher that you're having sex with, like say an English teacher, maybe there's a need for better communication in your life at that present moment in time. It could be math teacher related to finances. It just could be plain and simple that crush you have on your teacher and wondering what it would be to have sex with that teacher. And in the dream, you do. And it's what you wanted it to be. Got you off. So, we are going to take our final break in the show. So, completely up to you if you want to replenish your drink or your snack, or you just want to remain relaxed and masturbate. Completely up to you. But I will meet you back here for our final segment of Sex Talking with Andra.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Andra, with the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, thank you for tuning back into the last segment in the show. where we are talking about nocturnal emission, or plain and simple sex dreams, wet dreams, nightfalls, whatever you want to call it. You are gonna wake up either ejaculating or having a wet vagina, one of the other. It got your socks off and you dreamed about it. So picking up where we left off on our sex dreams, and what do they really mean? Sleeping or dreaming about someone you hate. Now, anger is usually one of the best things when you're having sex. And having sex with someone you absolutely despise in your dreams is completely, or seems to you as cruel and unfair. But it's worth, thinking about why you actually had this sex dream with that person you hate. It could be that your subconscious mind is urging you to find a way to connect with that person, to come together on some common level, and it's really for the sake of sanity reasons, your own, much more important. And, working it out. And maybe the way you get through it in your dream is through sex and orgasm and having sex with that person. But you need to sit down and put as what it is that you want to connect with this person. So, think that one over for a little while. Maybe you don't hate them as much as you do. Having sex in a group. Come on. This one is probably common, but it does happen. Sex dreams about orgies generally signify a lot of stress in your life or distress in your life. It's that they can usually be connected to some kind of confusion or overload that's going on right now in your life, in reality. And all these people in this huge sex, this orgy, represents that chaos. You're getting overwhelmed. There's a lot of things going on in your dream, and a lot of things going on in your personal life. It is really having that dream about that orgy with all those people. It is really too much stuff going on right now, and it's all at the same time, and you do not know how to figure out how to decipher how getting through those. So the orgy represents all of the chaos that's going on right now in your life, and all those people, everybody's moving, everybody's having sex, but yet you're still getting your rocks off and you're having an orgasm. Your life is a little chaotic right now. You really have to look at it, because that orgy represents that chaos in your life. Having sex in a public place. Now, we have all fantasized about having sex in a public place and getting away with it. And for those of you who do say that you don't, you do. But in today's times, I'm assured that that fantasy is fulfilled a lot more than it's actually thought of and fantasized about these days. Now, this particular dream is generally, sex dreams or dreams in general usually signify like that most memorable part of what's going on. The memorable part of a sex dream it's not so much about the other person or people that are involved. Remember, talking about the orgy here, but the location of getting away with it. We symbolize these locations, these geographical locations, which represent different parts of who you are and your life. So this is how they explain it. However, it may just be that you want to have sex in that place, and you're wondering, you're imagining it and doing it in your dream, but when it actually comes to it, well, generally these locations are your home life, your work life, your love life, your social circle, things like that. The public location would symbolize some part of your life that everyone knows about. Public, everybody knows about it. Obviously, having sex in a place like work or at a social gathering, family function, which is in front of a bunch of people, it's explained that part in your life is dominating you in that part of your life. So you really need to find out what that is and conquer it. Because if not, these dreams are gonna get more and more vivid, more and more orgasms, more and more every day. And you're gonna get them reoccurring until that part of you has been satisfied. Having sex in your childhood home. Okay, this is not a big dive. Okay, because 10 to 1, most people are still living in them. So you're having sex in them. Yes, at least they put this one in there. But hey, a child home, it's creepy when it's a sex dream. It's taking place in your childhood bed. You're probably sleeping in that still. Who's to say? They like to signify that dream as you taking a step back and looking at what's going on right now that makes you feel like a child. That makes you feel like a child in your life. And that's where that's at. Do you need to reach out to your parents to help you with your bills or a relationship issue? Are you literally reverting back into your childhood and acting like a kid right now and not a grown-up? It is just that. A lot of things. It's funny because they're sex dream, and I'm probably taking the joy out of all of them, but you can still have the sex dream. But if you're going to ask about why you're having this sex dream, you need to stop and find out. Because if it's reoccurring, you got issues. Having sex about a mind-blowing orgasm. Now that's the meat of a sex dream. And obviously, the sex dream. In the sex dream, actually, the orgasm is awesome. Be a man, be a woman, doesn't care. But the more women have wet dreams or sex dreams, the more wet dreams they get when they age. Unfortunately, men, this is totally the opposite for you. You get fewer with age, so you might want to, continue to have them and work them and whatever. It is a way of that mind-boggling, mind-blowing orgasm in that sex dream is said to represent an exciting end to something. So if you are thinking, something was going on and finally you've gotten through it, that is your reward. It could also mean that you're really craving IRL sex. Either way you look at it, you're coming out on top. So remember that. That's the best way to look at that. You are coming out on top. And don't sell yourself short on those, because you would be really doing yourself a disjustice. Now, continuing on with a few more sex dreams and what do they freaking mean? They don't talk, they don't have any, what can I say, any hindrance on your character, shall I say. It is just something that all of us have, and when we get up in the morning and we're all wet and then you're wondering why you even dreamed about that person or had that dream, well, you might want to get a little bit of an explanation, because sex dreams involving BDSM generally suggest, and this is how they're saying it, it can be interpreted any way you like it, but the interpretation is that you had an overbearing mother or father, and you are familiarly tantalized by the idea of being tied up and overcome by a love object, generally a person. And having that person who is also there would be finally, a positive. It is nothing perverted. It's not wrong. It's not unnatural. Our sexual experiences are our own, and no one needs to know about those. So if you're dreaming about a little bit of, that bondage, that discipline, that sadism, that masochism, dream on. It is okay. Having a sex dream about oral sex, which, come on, that's common. They usually explain this as that you were raised with direct or covert messages that oral sex is disgusting and unwanted, but secretly you desire it, which I can see that you raised and you're told that was bad. And because you were told so many times that it was bad, and say that you finally had it, or you really want to know why it's bad, you have a sex dream about it. You gotta remember, a lot of people are averse to giving oral sex, so sex dream about oral sex would probably come up faster than you probably getting it personally given to you. Now, there are so many other sex dreams out there and interpretations out there for them. either way, you can either nitpick at it, or you can just enjoy the fact that you got an orgasm. And a mind-blowing one at that in your dreams. Like I said, if it's continual, there might be something that you need to look into. Because you need to really analyze that dream. But don't ever stop having them. Because our minds are telling us something. Why not act it out through sex? It's vivid. It's like it's really happening. And you are coming from it. So, you may have a dream about you masturbating, and in the middle of the night you do. But you had that orgasm. And on that note, that is the end of my show for today. As always, I thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. As always, please do practice safe sex, if not for yourself, for your partner, and vice versa. Also, if you are going to try something new in the sexual realm, please do educate, communicate, and first and foremost, consent. Please, I do ask that you subscribe to the show and leave a good review. 5 stars. It helps me, and it helps the GSMC Podcast Network. Also, please do seek us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are there. Like us there. Please do leave comments. Please, put in there what you may want to hear as a topic on the show. And again, thank you, and have an awesome sex night.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast.